Okay, grace and peace from our Lord Jesus Christ. May the Spirit of God give you ears to hear. This is Sister Liberty, and I'm back in Revelation. So, we discussed last time of the beast of the sea and how he was going to be given power from Satan to wear out the saints and to cause all kindreds and nations and people of different tongues to fall and to worship him. And so, as the world is becoming darker, as the heart of man is becoming darker, do understand that the sons of God are becoming more and more brighter. God is raising up a remnant that's going to bring forth his glory in the earth. It may seem as though there are more with them than there are with us, but truly there are more with us than there are with them. It may seem as though that the enemy is winning and that he has the upper hand and that he's scoring all of the shots, but he knows and he understands that his time is short. He has but a little time. And so he's becoming more aggressive. He's becoming more open that, he is the one who is running the planet. He's making that very known. He's not in hiding as he was in times past. The enemy, he has to reveal himself. And so he's showing up through the different social media platforms. He's showing up through the clothing that people are wearing nowadays. He's showing up through the music industry, in the Hollywood industry, the industry where they do movies and they shoot different films. He's showing himself through those things to where he's no longer in hiding. Matter of fact, witchcraft is becoming celebrated in such a broad and wide way that it's no longer strange. It's no longer weird for a witch to come on a show and cast spells on people, cast chants and curses on people. Like, that's a thing now. That's a cool thing. That's becoming a trend, palm reading and fortune telling and what is it? The cards that people have, the telecards, talking of the dead, getting information from the dead, getting information from demon sources. Like, that stuff is no longer a secret anymore. People are doing these things. People are celebrating evil. People are celebrating wickedness. As a matter of fact, we're coming into a time where that's broadly celebrated. It's expressed in such a visible way. And so the enemy, his time is short. He has to work a lot harder. One of the things that he tries to get us to do is look at God as the enemy, as I mentioned in the previous video. And so what we're going to be talking about today is just a piggyback off of the beginning of Revelation chapter 13. We're going to be talking about the mark of the beast, which most of us are familiar with because most of us have either heard about the mark of the beast or we've seen it in movies. Because again, Satan has to reveal himself. So they're putting these things out there, although many people are still going to be blinded. Many people are still going to be deaf in their ears and still going to have a hardened heart against the truth. They're putting these things out there because they already know. Satan knows the conditions of man's heart. He already knows that man's heart is bitter and hardened towards God, hardened towards the truth. And so this stuff is out there. We've heard about the mark of the beast, but many people don't understand what taking the mark really means. It's not simply just taking, the devil's mark and that just being it. The word of God says that if anybody take this mark in their hand or their foreheads, they will be blotted out of the book of life. They will be removed out of the book of life. So we're going to discuss today of how, in taking this mark, you cannot be forgiven. And I used to think once upon a time that you could be forgiven. I thought once upon a time, well, God knows my heart. God understands how bad things are about to get and how bad things will be. God understands that it's going to be so bad that I'm going to have to make decisions. I'm going to have to make decisions that are going to compromise my faith. And so God knows this. God knows the level of fear that I'm undergoing in the time that we're going to be in. And so surely if I take this mark, I'm going to be forgiven. But that's not true. That's not true. So Revelation 13, I'm going to see where I would like to start. Let me grab my other Bible. I'm working out of 2 Bibles, y'all. It's the same version though. Okay, so yes, verse 11, right? So Revelation 13 verse 11 says, "And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had 2 horns like a lamb, and he spoke as a dragon." You know what that made me think about? So you know how they will implement the image of Satan or Lucifer in these movies. When you see him, when you see the image of a devil, they normally have 2 horns. This right here is where that came from. This right here is where that came from, the 2 horns. And when you think about a dragon, that dragon, that's the image of a serpent. Think about it. That's the image of a serpent with 2 legs, or legs in the front, legs in the back. So two sets of legs. That's what a dragon is. Yeah, that's a serpent. That's that serpent. That's that devil with legs, which is a dragon. And so those 2 horns, it says like a lamb, he spoke as a dragon, as one in power, as one in control. And verse 12 says that here, and he exercised all the power of the first beast before him. So the same authority, the same power, the same control, the same dominion. This beast operated in that same power, and he exercised it, it says. And it says, he caused the earth and them which dwelt therein to worship the first beast. So it seems as though this beast, the second beast, has more power than the first beast, because he's allowing the people of the world to worship the first beast, whose deadly wounds were healed. Remember that creature with the 7 heads, one of his heads was wounded, but then it got restored. It got healed. It got healed. We talked about that. And it says he does great wonders, so that he makes fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men. So again, you know, this dragon is going to have power. He's going to have so much power that he's going to begin to make great wonders and great signs appear in the skies. He's going to make things happen that people are not going to be able to explain. People are not going to be able to deny the fact that this is a God. This man has power as a God, and this is how people are going to worship this beast, because he's going to have great power, that he's going to be making things happen. And what is that going to do? That's going to cause a fear in people. That's going to cause for people to fear. And you know, when people are afraid, they're more likely to submit to whatever authority is over them. When someone or when a group of people are afraid, this is why the government now, what they're doing is they're trying to limit the population by causing things like chemtrails to be sprayed every day. What is that doing? That's killing people. You're breathing that in. You may not know what chemtrails are, because maybe you live your day-to-day normal. So chemtrails are what is sprayed in the sky that looks like streaks of cloud, lines of cloud. What that is chemicals that is filling the air that you and I breathe in, and that's what's keeping people sick. And so that's one of the ways our government is trying to decrease the population. Another way they're trying to decrease the population is food shortage. Food shortage is one way. Liquor stores that are on every corner, you know, vape stores that are on every corner now. It's crazy how marijuana has become so normal. It's so accepted. You know, the other day at work, I had a customer write in, and they were buying what you call hemp powder. hemp powder to go in a smoothie. And when I saw that, I was like, I remember when marijuana was illegal to have. You couldn't have too much of it. But you know, that has become so normal that marijuana now, which is called hemp, is in everything. You could buy it in a smoothie. You can buy the powder. You can buy the toothpaste. I almost bought the toothpaste one day because I didn't know that it was marijuana. I didn't know that they had changed the name, as they have done several different times. But you can buy it in toothpaste. You can buy it in lotion. You can buy it in hair products. You can buy it in lip balm. You can buy it in all kinds of things. You can buy it in all kinds of things. And so I say that to say that that's another way that the government is causing the population to decrease. Yeah, they're making drugs available to you. They're making the liquor stores liquor. They're making things available to you. They're making the cigarettes and the nicotine available to you. Although these things they're legal weapons. Yeah, you know, they're legal, meaning they kill you. They kill you. They kill you, but yet they're available, and they tell you on the boxes that they are available. Yeah, nicotine kills people. Alcohol kills people, yet your government makes it available for you because, you know, they understand that the world is headed down a dark path. And so they know that things are hard. They know that life is messed up, and so they make things available to you so that you can get it. Yeah, so that you can drink yourself to death, so that you can smoke yourself to death. Yeah, so that you can go out and get yourself into things. Yeah, that's why they're making abortions illegal now, almost up until 9 months. I don't know where it is now, but I do know that over the last few years, different states have fought to make abortions illegal up to about 7 or 8 months. That's one of the ways your government is killing off the population. And so the less people that there are, the more easier it is to control those that are left. Yeah. Your government is allowing different kinds of sicknesses and diseases to flood the planet and flood the earth, and which is why people have all kinds of sickness. Everybody's getting cancer. Everybody's getting all kinds of cancer. Cancer in their throat, cancer in their heart, cancer in their head, cancer in their back, cancer in their feet, cancer in their, knee. Yeah, and that's also incorporated in the food that we're eating. That's another thing that the government is doing. Yeah, they're making processed food. They're making fake food. They're making genetic modified food that does not have seeds in it, that cannot be regrown. And if it is regrown, it's not real, it's fake. You understand what I'm saying? You can take a seed from the store, from Home Depot, but it not be authentic. Yes, it's a seed, but it's not a real seed, but it's a seed. And it'll grow some stuff, but it's not real. It's not authentic. And so that's what your government is doing. This is how they're going to kill off the population. And so those that are left, they are a lot easier to control. The enemy knows this. The government, they know this. And so this is what they're doing. They're killing off the population. And so it says this here. It says where was I? Okay. And deceive them that dwell on the earth by the means of the miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast. So the different things that this beast is going to be able to do is going to draw people. People are going to be in awe. People are going to be just blown away at the power that this beast is going to have. There's not going to be no doubt in people's hearts that this is not God. Oh no, this is God. Matter of fact, this is a great God. You can make things in the heavens happen. You can shift things in the atmosphere. You can cause things to fall into the earth and just change the star, the angle of the earth, and the things in the sky and in the earth's atmosphere. You can do that. And it said that they should make an image of the beast. And you know people are going to do this because people do this now when they come up with different statues and different images. These people came up with these images because of the encounters that they had somewhere. Maybe, let me give you an example of what I'm saying so that I don't lose you with that. So let's say maybe they healed an animal. Maybe things in this region was bad. Maybe there was a drought. But maybe there was like a wounded a wounded calf or like a wounded cattle or something of that sort, a wounded beast. They took in the beast got healed. Right after the beast got healed, it seemed as though rain began to fall in this land and in this region. And so what the people in that region would do is they would begin to take in their hearts and say that this calf, this beast that we healed, it was when we healed it, and all of a sudden, it just magically started to rain. So what the people in that region would do is they would start to worship that creature, that beast. And eventually what they would do is they would make an image of that beast. That's what the children of Israel did back in their time, in their days. They made a golden calf. They made a golden calf, something that they could see, something that they could actually touch. They made a golden idol. And so that's what these people are going to do in these times. They're going to create an image which had the wounds by a sword and did live, and had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast to be killed. You know who that's talking about? That's talking about the real believers, the firm, strong, grounded, and rooted believers that are not going to worship this beast, because we know that a beast is coming. We know that the Antichrist is going to come and reign and rise up and cause many of the believers to be persecuted or killed because we choose to not worship the image. We choose to not abide by the Antichrist laws and rules and standards. They're going to look at us as though we're rebelling against the land. No, these are those that are rebelling against the land. It makes me think about Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Ananias, Mishael, and Azariah. Yeah, Ananias, Mishael, and Azariah. It makes me think about them when King Nebuchadnezzar told them, hey, there's a statue that I want everyone to bow down to and to worship at the sound of the music playing. When you hear the music playing, bow down and worship the golden statue. I think it was gold. I don't know. Bow down and worship the statue. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego were committed to their God, which was the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. The same God that I worship, the same God that I am committed to. Many times, you know, outside of persecution, outside of adversity, outside of just being hated and accused for things for our faith, we can love God. We can say that, God, I'm going to be faithful to you. God, I will never deny you. God, it's you and me all the way to the end. But, you know, things change when you're in the middle of adversity. Things change when you feel as though your life is on the line. That's why I said fear is going to cause a lot of people to be subject to the beast. And so with Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, they were committed to God, not just with their words, but in action. Because eventually, when the music began to play and everybody bowed down and they were the only three left standing, they got penalized for not bowing down to this image. They were cast and thrown into a fiery furnace for their faith. Now, that may be real harsh, but that was back then. And, you know, to end off that story, you know, they did not die from being cast into the fiery furnace. God saved them. They were faithful and committed unto death. That's what I wanted to draw into that story and making this point, is that they were committed unto death. They, you know, it wasn't just them saying, oh, I'm a believer, I believe in God. Well, what about if I threaten your life? Are you still committed? Are you still loyal to your God? Are you still faithful to your God? Because here's the statue, and if you don't bow, anybody that does not bow to the statue is going to be cast into this fiery furnace. And so they were faithful and committed unto death. What about you? What about you? Are you going to be faithful and committed unto death? Because every single person that chooses to not bow to the Antichrist, to the beast in this image, you're going to be killed. How does that sound to you? It doesn't sound pretty. It doesn't sound sweet to my ears. Does that cause a fear in your heart? If it does, then that means that that's a problem, and that it needs to be addressed in the presence of God. But the good news is that God is not giving you the spirit of fear. And so because he's not giving you the spirit of fear, you can be delivered from that fear. God has given us love, power, and of a sound mind. He's given us love, power, and a sound mind. And so you can be delivered from that fear that says, God, I'm going to be killed for my faith. I don't want to die. I don't want to die. But if I say to myself, well, I know that I'm strong. I know that I won't deny Jesus. When they put that gun to your head, or when they put the gun to your kid's head, or your spouse's head, or your leader's head, how are you going to deal with that in those moments if you're not dealing with it now? If you think to yourself, well, I won't deny Jesus for my faith because I know me. When that gun is put to your head, I'm telling you, it's a different story. It's a different story. You know, things are different now because we're not being held for our faith. I'm not being hit across my head with a bat or a 2x2 for my faith right now. I'm openly preaching, but what happens when, you know, foreign leaders come and invade U.S. territory and they're taking away the Bibles and they're making death threats and the Antichrist is now reigning and now the beast is, you know, performing all of these different miracles and performing great wonders and stuff in the air, and they tell you that anybody that does not bow to this image is going to be killed. What are you going to do in those times? You need to know. You need to know. Your heart needs to not be troubled now, so that in those moments of persecution and death, your heart is not troubled then, because if you take the mark of the beast, you will not be forgiven. And so when we are moved by fear and grief, we need to ask the Lord, Lord, take away this fear. Deliver me from this fear, because I don't want to deny you, because I don't know what I'm capable of doing. Yes, I would love to have a testimony like Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, where I was faithful to my God and I was loyal to my God unto death. I want that to be my story. However, I don't want to deceive myself. Lord, listen, I'm afraid. That's one of the things the Lord has been revealing to me in my dreams, is that he wants the children of God to be free and delivered from the spirit of death. He does not want us to be afraid to die. He does not want us to fear death. If any man fears death, Jesus says that he will save his own life. If you are afraid to die, you will do anything to save your life. You will take the mark of the beast. You will bow to the image. You will compromise your faith for the sake of saving your own life. Make no mistake about it. So the Lord is desiring to deliver his people from the spirit of death. We need deliverance from the spirit of death. One of the things that I'll share that the Lord showed me in a dream is that, you know, in the heavenlies, they look at the death of the righteous differently. You know, we mourn, we cry, we're sorrowful, we're heavy. But when one of the Lord's saints are taken from the earth, there's a celebration in heaven. God looks at this as a glorious thing. You know, matter of fact, there's a scripture that says, precious in the sight of the Lord is the death of one of his saints. And so when the Lord revealed that to me in a dream, I was like, oh my goodness, God, I look at death in such a bad way. Matter of fact, I don't even want to think about any of my brothers and sisters dying. Why? Because I look at death from a carnal way. I have a carnal view about death, and I need the Lord's view on death so that I'm not afraid to face death when it's my time to go. So that if it comes down to it, if I am commanded to either deny my faith or worship this beast, I have to hold on to my faith and not be afraid. Listen, man can only destroy this flesh, but I better fear the one who can cast both body and soul into hell. Man, they can only destroy what you can physically see, but it's God that can destroy the body and soul and cast it into hell. So I better fear him. I better fear God and not man. We have to overcome the spirit of death, because many of us, there's a possibility that we may be persecuted for our faith and even killed. And that got to settle in your heart. Lord, I might die for you, but I better be sold out. You know, there's a song. There's a song. I am sold out. There's a song. I better be sold out for Christ, for real. Like Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Unto the end, I have to be sold out. And he calls all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. So it doesn't matter. It's not going to matter in these moments who's rich, who's poor, who's wealthy, who's rich, who's famous, who's in jail, who's out of jail, who's in bondage, who's free. It's not going to matter in these moments. What's going to matter is everybody is going to be of one mind. That's going to be that new world order. Yeah. The whole world is going to be of one order, one standard, one law. And that's going to be to worship this image. You're not going to be allowed to serve your own gods. How everybody is free right now to just serve who they want to serve, call on who they want to call on. That's going to be illegal. That's going to be illegal to call on the name of another. No, it's going to be about this beast right now. And you are going to be given the opportunity and the chance to take a mark. There's going to be one world order where the government, the military begins to patrol the streets. And it may not even be U.S. military patrolling the street at that point. I don't know who's going to be patrolling the street. It may be a foreign, like I said, there's going to come a time where foreign nations invade U.S. soil and begin to take over. Now, who's the Antichrist going to be? I don't know. I don't know. But I do want to be ready. So it's going to come a point where you will have to receive this mark of the beast in your right hand. It's going to have to be in your hand. Many people have made false alarms over the recent years of saying, hey, this is the mark over here. No, this is the mark over here. I bet you that's the mark. No, you're going to know the mark when it becomes mandatory, not something that's optional. People have even said that the COVID vaccine was the mark. No, you're going to know. You're going to know. It's going to be mandatory, meaning you're not going to have an option. Either you take the mark or you die. That's what it's going to be. It's going to be so bad that it says that no man may be able to buy or sell except that he has the mark. So that lets you know right there that currency, which the U.S. dollar is losing its value. That lets you know that currency is going to be of no effect, of no value. Why? Because this mark is going to take that place. If you want to buy things, you need gas. You need toiletries. You need hygiene. You need medication and medicine. You need clothing. You need food. You need stuff to cook in. You need water. These things you got to consider. If you are with child in those days, or if you are nursing in those times, your baby is going to need food. If you have pets, I don't know if you don't eat them. I don't know. It's going to be that bad. I know it sounds crazy, but in those moments, it's going to be every man for themselves. Those that are outside of God, it's going to be every man for themselves. You think it's a dog world now. It's going to become worse. It's going to become darker, meaning people are not going to care to take your life, the life of a child, the life of an animal. People are going to become so desperate that we're going to see things happening in this nation that we've never seen before. And so you're not going to be able to purchase things like how you do now with card or debit card. As I said, the dollar, it's losing its value. So everything is now digital. Everything is digital. Either you have it on your phone or you have a little plastic card that you're able to swipe things with. So, I don't know, that's a distraction. Whoever it is going to have to wait. But if you don't have this mark in your right hand or in your forehead, you're not going to be able to buy anything. And so think about that. You're going to have starving kids. You're going to have, starving babies. You're going to have elderly people that needs to eat and stuff like that. It's going to be a sad time. People are going to be dying in the streets. People are going to be starving. People are going to be crying. Babies are going to be crying. That's going to affect you. That's going to do something to you. You're going to have to deal with the fact that your world is falling apart. Your world is falling around you, and that the only way to survive is to take the mark. At least that's what they're going to tell you. The only way to survive, the only way to make it out, the only way to live is to take the mark. And this is where a lot of people are going to start to compromise for their faith. They're no longer going to believe in God. They're no longer going to hope in God. They're no longer going to stand on what they once believed because of what's going to be happening around them. You can't live by what you see and how you feel. I'm doing a live video right now. Did y'all schedule to come in?
Yes, ma'am. We sent out notices.
What notice did y'all send out?
For filter change and inspection.
They changed the filter like 2 weeks ago.
Okay, is everything in the house working properly?
To my knowledge, unless y'all want to check the AC in the room. But they changed the filter 2 weeks ago.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you.
So, as my life was rudely interrupted, they just walked into my house. You see the kind of stuff I'm talking about? This is the times that we are living in. These are the times that we are living in, brethren, you see? To where It's going to feel as though you are losing your rights. It's going to feel as though you don't have any say. So it's going to feel as though you don't get to serve your Jesus openly and publicly. You don't get to proclaim the name of God openly. It's going to seem as though that you don't get to be who you once were anymore. You're not going to be able to do that. This is why we need the Lord. This is why we have to be rooted and grounded in the Lord. I'm telling you. If we are not rooted and grounded in the Lord, then we are going to compromise our faith. We are going to take the mark of the beast. And we are so afraid of people that can kill us and threaten our lives and threaten the lives of those around us, then we are not ready for these times. We are not ready for these times. And we are easily shaken up. If we are easily moved, then we're not going to be ready. We're not going to be ready. We are not going to be ready. And I'm letting you know now, if you take this mark, you will not be forgiven. Here is wisdom. Let him that has understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of man. His number is 666. We know that as 666. That is the number of the beast. You know, the industry, the music industry, and the social media industry, and just the world, period, they play around with that number. But there's a purpose behind why they do it. They're trying to let you know who's running the planet. They're trying to let you know that Satan is the prince of this world. They're letting you know that they're getting ready to set things in place. They're letting you know what's about to occur. But many of you, you're too blinded. You're too blinded. You're deaf. That's why he says, let him that has understanding count the number. If you have understanding, then you need to act accordingly. At the beginning of verse 9, he says, if any man has an ear, let him hear. Because everybody hear things differently. And so in hearing this, if I don't have the right ears, if I don't have the right heart to perceive, then this is going to come in the wrong way. And that means it's going to go out the wrong way too. Meaning it's not going to take root. It's not going to do what it needs to do on the inside. So, yeah, we need grace from the Lord Jesus Christ. We need power. We don't understand how bad things are about to get. We see it, meaning in movies. We may even read about it. You know, some may call it Armageddon, you know, the end of the world, the rapture, and seeing how bad things are about to get. That's not a game. That's not a joke. That's not going to be a time to make light of what's going to be happening. People are going to be doing very bad things. People are going to begin to get desperate. They're going to take lives. They're going to be breaking into stores for food because people are not going to want to take the mark. People are going to be robbing other people. They're going to know where to find and get things. Then they're going to be breaking into things. People are going to be doing illegal things. They're going to be rioting and setting things on fire and breaking the law. Breaking the law. You know, people are going to need things for their baby. The people are going to begin to steal a lot more. And they're going to feel justified. Hey, there's a food shortage. And if they know of a place, they may have it or may be limited into what they have. Just like now how some baby food, some baby formula is limited. Some of it is limited. They may not be able to get the amount that they need. And so people are going to begin to kill people. They're going to begin to kill people, and they're not going to second think it. They're not going to second it. They're just going to respond. People are going to go into fight or flight mode. They're just going to do it. They're going to do it. And so we need strength. We need grace. We need the peace of God. We need to stay on full. We need to stay full of the Spirit of God so that in those moments we are equipped. We are at peace, not just on the outside, on the inside.